B-Rob here. It's the Food for Thought podcast. It's Tuesday, February the 11th, and we have Lindsey here on the line. How you doing, Lindsey?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I can't complain. If I did, nobody listened. That's
That's right.
that's that's one of the lines in my song called "All Gas, No Brakes." Um, tell us your name, and then tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and that sort of thing.
Okay, I'm Lindsey Gentz. Currently, my husband and I live in Henderson, Texas, and we relocated here 2 years ago, this last November, from Aiken, South Carolina. Just wanted to do something different and have some land and do a little bit of homesteading, and so that's what we're doing now. Excuse me. Growing up, my dad was in the Air Force, and so we moved around every 3, 4 years, and um, I was able to experience a lot of different areas of our awesome nation. And my favorite assignment was in Alaska. We lived there for 3 years from seventh through ninth grade. And that was my favorite. I had the best memories and experiences there. And we
So
moved back to Texas. Oh,
So
go ahead.
you lived in Alaska?
Yes, sir, in Anchorage from
Awesome.
1994 to 1997.
So do you have like 30 days of night there? I don't know
It,
much about that. I just know, what I've seen in movies and that sort of thing. So that's why I asked.
it's 6 months of light and 6 months of darkness. But
Oh
during the dark,
wow.
the sun does come up. It just doesn't come up until later in the morning, and then it's only up for a few hours, and then it goes back down. So you wake up and go to work and school in the dark, and you come home in the dark. It is depressing. They do have
I was gonna
sad,
say
I think
that
they
has
call
to
it.
be, yeah, that has to be depressing because even down here when it gets starts getting dark around 4 and it gets,
Yes.
yeah, it's like, what the hell? No, I wish it stayed light until 9 o'clock all year long. That'd be awesome.
No, in the summertime is when it's light, and then through the fall, and it just looks like it's daytime all day long, and it really gets old because you can't go to sleep because your brain thinks that it's still daylight outside,
Right.
so it throws off your
Yeah,
circadian rhythm.
that's crazy. That's crazy. So Henderson's like what? How many miles from Tyler?
So it's about an hour drive,
Yeah, and it's what, 3 hours from Dallas or something? Am I right there?
about
2 hours?
two and a half. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my biological father is from Dallas and I lived there in 95. It was kind
Okay.
of Yeah, it was kind of a crazy experience and it's funny because there's a band that came out like right around that time. It's called the Toadies. Have you ever heard of the band called the Toadies?
Possum Kingdom. Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Absolutely.
they have a song called Tyler. And the funny thing is when I went to live with my biological dad for the first time in 95, the first time I left Augusta in my life, and
Wow.
went there and I went to this concert. It was a record breaking ceremony for Possum Kingdom at a place called Trees in Deep Ellum,
Wow.
Dallas, Texas. And the funny story is in 99, no, in 2000, I think, they came out with another record. And I was living in Columbia, South Carolina, because I'm from Augusta. And I
Okay.
had just gotten married to my wife. And they came and played a small club. And the the guy they did like two songs and the guy lost his voice.
Oh
His
no.
name was Todd Lewis. I guess Toadies, I guess that's where that came from. But his name was Todd Lewis, and I actually met the guy and knew the
Oh, wow.
guy from living in Dallas. And I was there that night, and they pulled me up on stage, and I ended up singing
Oh wow, that's so
for
awesome.
them. Yeah, and I sang the song Tyler. That's what's crazy. That's why I'm looking at the map, and I was like, Henderson has to be like near. So I'm looking at the map, and I see you're like right next to Tyler, and
Yes.
I just wanted to share that crazy story. But
That's
tell us tell us a little bit of more about your yeah, all my friends were there, and we didn't have cell phones, but I had
right.
a friend who become a professional photographer who was there who took pictures, and I still have a picture, like a picture of a picture, and I'll have to send it to you. I'll send it to you after this show of me singing for
That's
the Toadies.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, but tell us a little more about what you do, and tell us. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had to tell
No,
that story.
no, you're fine. No, that was great. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing.
Not a
Um,
problem.
what I do now, I am a massage therapist. I call myself a body worker because it's my pursuit of happiness, my right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And my pursuit of happiness is helping other people to
Right.
heal their and help relieve them of pain and whatever that they're going through, if they have limited mobility issues or anything like that that I can help with. That's what I love to do, and so that's my life's calling, that's my life's work. Um, I call him Yahuwah. I don't call him God anymore. I call him Yahuwah, and he really placed that heavy on my heart in 2012 and 2013 for me to do massage therapy school. And I didn't know why. I was working at the Savannah Riverside at the time at the Mox project then. And I was there 10, 11 hours every day, 4 days a week. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But he made a way and I got through and I finished. And then I sat and passed my board. So I've been doing it ever since. I've kept the license and now I do it full time. And I'm very thankful for that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in the term light worker or star seed?
I recently became aware of it, and yes, I do.
That's amazing because I think, well, I still say God. So I think God has called a lot of people to service at
Yes,
this point in time
yes,
to help uh, what I like to call the Great Awakening, which is
yes.
a spiritual enlightenment of consciousness and ascension of consciousness for humans. And I
I'm so
think,
glad you said that because
yeah,
there is no one within 1,000 miles of me probably that ever talks about this. So thank you for saying that.
no, I mean, a lot of people might call it crazy, but I mean, like, I do music for a living now. I quit putting people in fiat debt because I was a finance director for major car dealerships for 26 years.
Good for you. I'm
And
sure that.
that was something that really hurt my soul for a long time. But in the same sense, I was making sure my kids were comfortable
Hmm.
and going through life without the stresses of, because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm 50 years old, and I think I had it a lot easier than my kids. And the reason I say that, not physically, but I think mentally, because we didn't
Yes,
have the internet. We had like three channels on the TV. We had,
yes,
you know, if we wanted to hear about a star, and I call them stars because they're fallen stars, but
yes.
uh, a celebrity, it would
Hmm.
be from a magazine that came out once a month that we would buy at a local magazine shop, and then
Oh, yeah.
we would learn that way. But now these kids learn in real time and have since about 99 2000, when we started pulling computers into our houses and that sort of thing. And it's it's really hard for them mentally now, and that's why. But I mean, it all goes into place with big pharma as well, because that was designed to make them have to take antidepressants and make them have to take ADHD medicine and make them have to take that sort of thing. Same with the grocery stores. I mean, you walk in a grocery store and right after Christmas, you see Valentine's Day candy as soon as you walk in. And
I know.
why do you have candy when you walk in and you got candy at the registers? Because you're going to bring kids in there and
Yep.
their body is, you've been feeding them uh, Twix and whatever cereal, Captain Crunch and all that stuff, which is nothing but sugar. And
Right.
it's a crazy cycle, man. And we don't, it's God forgive them for they know not what they do. We knew no better for years and
Right.
years and years because it was the status quo. And like I always say, the status quo ain't quo. So, but tell us
Exactly.
more, tell us more about I hate to get all into that, but tell us more about like your gift and how you became,
How I became a massage therapist?
yeah, the light worker you are.
Well, I honestly, I've always enjoyed helping people. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a teacher, and then I wanted to do nursing, and then I thought, well, I could be a doctor, just something that would help other people because I liked to do that. And um, my my mom was really encouraging, and she's very loving and giving, and my mom is just the most awesome woman that I know from my entire life. And very, very thankful that she was chosen to be my mom. But
That's an
I,
amazing thing, isn't it?
it is. I just I enjoy helping, and so when I went to college, I started in nursing school, and I didn't have any self esteem. My dad's a narcissist, so that was interesting growing up with that whole dynamic too. But um, I had no self esteem. I had no self worth. I just was living life day by day kind of thing and no purpose, but
Now, where did you
when
grow up?
all over because he was in the
Oh
Air
yeah,
Force.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I have a sister and a brother. I'm the oldest, and I was the only one that came into the world outside of the military, the Air Force. So I call myself the only freeborn child. So, um, but yeah, we started in Georgia at Valdosta at Moody Air Force Base, and that's where my sister and brother came into the world. And then my dad was a JAG lawyer at the time, and he did that 3 or 4 years, and then decided that's not what he wanted to do. So he changed careers and went into the med group because he could use his legal knowledge and things and be successful. And he was very successful. He had a very successful career. Very proud of him. Very thankful for his service. And so and then after Georgia, it was Illinois, and then San Antonio, Texas, and then Anchorage, Alaska, and then back to San Antonio, Texas. And then I graduated high school and I got off the bus, and I went to UTSA my freshman year. And then my
How
dad,
how
oh,
was San Antonio? How'd you like
San
that?
Antonio, it was fun. There was always something going on, always something to do, but it was very busy, very, uh,
Yeah,
a lot.
I've been there one time back in the 90s. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you go and you want to see the Alamo, but like if you ride by, you miss it.
Yes, if you blink, you will. It's in the middle of a whole bunch of buildings and
Yep.
just garbage town.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's nothing like the movies back in the day.
No, not at all. Not now.
Yep, yep. All right, go back. So you were back to San Antonio, then you
Oh,
graduated
yeah.
from there. Yep.
Yep, I went to UTSA my freshman year of college, and um, I had a boyfriend that was at Hardin Simmons University in Abilene, Texas, which is about 4 hours north of San Antonio, and that's who I was gonna marry. And so I went. My mom and dad PCS, or I'm sorry, they moved to a new duty station in Arkansas. So I was like, well, y'all are going, I'm going to go here. And I finished college. I graduated in 2004. I changed my major 4 different times. Ended up basically with a phys ed type degree and a minor in sociology. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. I thought I was going to be a coach and a
Right.
PE. And I tried to do that, and it didn't work out. Yahuwah had some other plans for me, and I'd gone through a divorce in 2004 that I didn't want. He let me know in not so many words that he don't be married anymore, so found somebody else, and all that stuff. So
Oh yeah.
it really affected me in a way that I was not expecting. And uh, I had a friend at work, and he was going to go parachuting, like skydiving, and with his wife. And he was talking about it and all this stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds fun. I won't ever do anything like that." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you should go, and you leave all your crap in the plane, and then when you jump out, you're gonna start over. Everything's brand new, blah blah." I was like, "No, and I'm good." And a couple of days later, he was talking to me at work, and he said, "Oh, his wife, I forget her name, um, she has to do end of quarter. She was an accountant." And he said, "You should go with me. We were talking. You should go and pay for her ticket and then just take her spot and then just go and like the whole thing." So he talked it up all day. And I was like, "No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it." And at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I really don't have anything to lose. I really don't, because I was at the bottom of the barrel, and it was not a good time for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go.
You're like,
So
screw it. I'm going skydiving.
exactly. I was like, what's the
Holy shit.
I could die. Well, hey, right now I don't mind if that happens. So I mean, it was bad after that divorce. It was bad, and so I went, and the last memory I have was looking at my friend from work, and I said, I have a bad feeling something's going to happen to me. And he said, don't say that. You're going to jinx yourself. And I just was like, I just have a bad feeling. And then a month later, I woke up in a neurological rehab center in Austin. And my mom was standing in the room, and I was like, am I in the hospital? And she said, yes. And I kind of looked at her, and I said, did I get hurt really bad? And she said, yes. And she said, do you know who?
Holy shit. Keep
And
going.
I was like, what do you mean? Do I know who you are? Yes, I know who you are. She's like, who am I? I said, you're my mom. She said, what's my name? And I just remember, like, what is going on? Apparently, um, the the day that we went to go to do this, the winds were 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts.
Oh,
Um,
that ain't good.
no, it
Hey,
was
let's
we.
let's let's do this. Let me I need to do a real quick sponsor thing, but
Yeah.
keep that thought real quick. Um Guys, this episode is brought to you by S4 Construction Services. They're from Lincoln in Georgia. They specialize in roof repairs, roof replacements, metal roofing, vinyl, and hard siding, patio covers, pole barns, wood and chain link fences, and their motto is we'll even clean your house and wash your dishes. That's S4 Construction Services in Lincoln in Georgia. All right, back to Lindsay. Now, you were sitting there with your mother in the hospital. Tell us.
Yes. And I was like, why are you talking so weird? Like, what is the deal? What's going on? And she said, well, I don't know if you knew me. And I said, what are you talking about? And she's like, you don't really have a memory, and we don't know what you know. because you haven't been able to talk because you've been in a medicated coma and
Medicated coma.
induced coma. And I was like, why? What happened? Did I have an accident? She said, yes. Do you remember? And I said, no. And so she started to tell me that I had gone with a friend from work and I went skydiving. She was like, why would you go skydiving? Or I said, why would I go skydiving? And she goes, that's what we wanted to know because that's not something that she would do because I had a fear of heights. I don't like heights.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't even like drive over a bridge.
Why do that? But it makes me nervous. But yeah, it just I don't know. I was just that down and hardened in my life, I guess, at that time, and I didn't care what happened to me. And so lots of prayers, and that was June 4th, 2008 that happened. And then I woke up in the hospital. It was July 5th of 2008, a month and a day later. And
Damn.
yeah, I don't remember anything. And it took over a year for me to remember that last part of the day, is just right before we got on the plane. I don't remember getting on the plane. I don't remember the flight. I don't remember.
What the hell happened? I mean, what happened? What they say happened?
So I had said that it was 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts that day
Right.
of wind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They had, so we had to go into this. I mean, it was in Lexington, Texas, in the middle of podunk nowhere. That's up by Bryan College Station.
Yeah.
And it was a couple hours maybe from my house in San Antonio at the time. And we got there early, probably 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then they had us sign some paperwork. And then we started the training, quote unquote. And we would just watch these videos and then took this true or false test afterward. And then if you passed, you got to jump. If you didn't, then they would either coach you or you just couldn't jump for that day. I don't remember exactly. Excuse me, because I passed and I paid my money or whatever. And um, I remember signing this paper. It's essentially signed my life away. It said that I wouldn't sue or wouldn't do anything if anything happened or whatever. So um, and then I remember going outside to get my parachute, get fitted with my parachute, and then my altimeter. And then I had a one-way radio that was strapped on my right shoulder where the spotter on the ground, could talk to me, but I couldn't talk back because he probably couldn't hear me anyway. And then I just remember saying what I said to my friend, and then I woke up a month later in the hospital. So
Man,
apparently they said that the winds had died down enough within FAA regulation to let us go. Because there have been people jumping all day long, but they were professionals. They knew how to handle the winds and all that stuff.
right.
And why they didn't cancel it, I don't know. I it was
So I
I
mean, did it blow you somewhere and
It
like
blew me a mile and a half away from the landing area where I was supposed to be. And I snagged the parachute, snagged a tree. And had that not happened, I would have hit power lines.
damn.
So I was like right next to the tree. And
So it sounds like Satan or whatever was going on in your life, which was bad. I mean, you said you were in the lowest of lows and
oh yes.
just kind of walked you right somewhere that he wanted you to go, and then God just like intervened at the last second. Sounds like
He did. He did. There's
that's a
no explanation. Um so this guy that was watching me told my dad, because my mom and dad, oh gosh, that call. They got there the next day and drove up to the place and had them take them to where I was, and my dad took photos and stuff because he's a lawyer.
right.
And
Oh, I'm sure.
we were kind of just looking or they were looking around and asking, all these questions and stuff. And um, my dad, I don't remember exactly, but he got a bunch of photos and he talked to the guy that was watching me through the binoculars, and he said that I did okay at first because what I had to do, I had to crawl out. It was a little Cessna with the little landing wheels and stuff
Right.
and bars under the wings, and you had to like crawl out of the door of the plane, shimmy across the little landing poles and stuff that's on the wing and the landing gears on the wheels, and you had to stand and just let go because I was static line, so I was attached to a thing that would pull my chute for me, and
Uh,
just had to let go of the plane. And I am shocked that I let go. I'm shocked that I went through with it. I don't know how I didn't chicken out, but I don't remember. So, but I crawled out there and I let go, and the guy told my dad that I was doing okay at first, but unfortunately, while I was up there, the winds picked back up. And instead of canceling the jump, they went ahead and let us jump.
wow.
So that's how and why I got carried a mile and a half away. And the guy told my dad that it was because it was a rectangular parachute. And I believe the explanation was in the air like that to kind of, I don't know if it's to balance it or what, but the parachute's designed, it fills up with air on one side and then puffs it out, and then it fills up on the other side and puffs, and then it just goes back and forth. So I
Right.
was getting slammed, not just rocked, but slammed from side to side violently in the air. And the guy said he thought that I was passed out because I quit responding, and then I was just kind of limp and just blowing with the air and not responding to what he was saying to me on the ground. And my parachute snagged a tree, and when it did that, it collapsed the parachute. So I was getting slammed side to side, and then I started spinning. So I was doing both of those actions at the same time, and I fell the equivalent of 5 stories, they said. And when I hit the ground, I broke 3 ribs on my right side. Thank goodness I had a helmet on, because they said if I didn't, I would definitely be dead. But 3 ribs on my right side, punctured my right lung. I sheared my sacrum, which was in a diagonal break in your sacrum, and it's a very hard bone to break. And mine just
Right.
went, fractured my entire pelvic ring, and then I had a traumatic brain injury, a diffused brain injury. It's the adult equivalent of shaken baby syndrome. So my parents arrived. They couldn't get on a plane that night, but they got one for the next morning, and then arrived in Austin and got to the hospital. And the doctors told my mom and dad that my injuries were so severe they did not expect me to survive the night, just because they did a CAT scan or MRI, whatever, my whole body, head to toe. And my brain injury, they showed my mom and dad on the x-rays. They said everywhere you see black, her brain is dead.
Damn.
And my dad said, well, what are these 3 white spots? And my dad said they're about quarter size white spots. And he said that's the only part of her brain that's still alive. And that was devastating to hear. And um
So when you came back, they were like seeing ghost, basically. 'Cause you weren't expecting to make any kind of recovery from that.
no, I
Um,
was not expected to make any recovery. They waited about a week to a week and a half, I think, to fix my sacrum, because there was no point if I was going to die. So after a week, and I was getting better and I was showing signs of improvement, then they went ahead and put a screw through my sacrum, a titanium screw, and my whole pelvic ring was fractured. And they thought they were going to have to go in and wire all of that together. But by the grace of Yahuwah, when they put that screw in, it aligned all of my bones perfectly. And so they put me in this straitjacket thing. So I couldn't roll on my side. It was so that my bones could set and heal and stuff. And
Right,
uh,
right.
it was very painful. My mom said it looked very painful. So, but I was on heavy drugs. I don't remember any of it.
Well,
So
you're just a walking testimony. Like that's amazing.
it
That's
took a
that's
while to
an
get to that point where I was, I guess, my testimony. But yeah, I was pretty angry for a long time, for about 3 years, 4 years after my accident,
oh,
because
I'm
why
sure. I mean, I'm sure. I mean,
don't want
were you mad at God?
so. But the true miracle with that whole thing, I was supposed to be dead. I was not supposed to survive, and then the prognosis was about 3 to 5 years before I could do anything for myself or do much of anything really.
Right,
And And then 3 or 4 weeks after that, they were like, well, maybe she's got a year to 2 years before because she's really doing good. She's coming along. And I was on 90-day FMLA leave from work. And on day like 87, 88, something like that, I
right,
was discharged from all of my therapies, and I was discharged from my orthopedic surgeon, and I was cleared to go back to life, to work and stuff. And so I was living my life. I was 25, 26 at the time, and I was not about to go home and live with my mom and dad again. And so I sucked it up, and I should have. In hindsight, I probably should have, to let myself heal, but in my mind, I had no memory of any of it. So I was like, let's go. Like, I just want to get back to life. And it was a struggle. It physically, I was beat. By the time I got home from work after working all day, I would not even eat dinner most nights. I would just go straight to sleep because I was so tired. My body was exhausted. It was healing still.
but that's a crazy transition. I mean, you just told me a story about how like you didn't care if you lived or you died, and then you went from that in 3 to 4 short years to like wanting life, wanting to get
Yeah.
out. That's an amazing testimony. It really is. I mean that. Poof, man, that's good stuff, girl. I mean, there's a reason we met today on Facebook. There's a reason you're
I
talking to me
agree.
right now. You're
I
telling
agree
your story. That's man. I don't believe in coincidences. There's no such thing.
anymore.
The what now?
I said I don't either anymore. Not after the last 5 years.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy?
Mm-hmm. It
Like
is.
I don't even know how to explain that. But man, this is great. So, how did you meet your current husband?
So I worked at the Savannah Riverside at the Mox Project, as I said earlier, and he
Right.
did too. He was in a different area than I was, and his
And,
dad.
and give us a timeline. How long has it been since you?
Oh, so this was 2016.
Okay.
Uh, at the end of 2014, I had dated a guy for about 3 years, and it didn't work out, and
Right.
we
Right.
I just took 2015 to just be by myself. I didn't want to date anybody. I didn't want, because the last guy was a narcissist, and that's when it clicked into my head. I was like, oh my gosh, this is how my dad is to me. And then I made that connection, and then there was a name to put to his way that he is.
Right.
And so I started doing as much research and learning about that as I could. And um, my ex-husband is a narcissist. And then I dated two other ones. And gosh, it was just, I guess that was the time that my brain just kind of, oh, well, if this is true, then this has to be it. So I kind of made that connection, and I
Right.
took off 15. I didn't want to date anybody. And in November of 2015, I needed to get my hair cut, and the gal that I'd been going to had moved. And so I asked a friend of mine for a referral, and she referred me to this gal named Dory. And I sat down in Dory's chair, and I was there maybe 10 minutes, and I felt like I'd known her my whole life. She was awesome. And she told me about this guy named Sam.
Something about them South Carolina hairdressers.
You're not kidding. They are just, they are awesome.
My brother married one.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, they're just wonderful individuals, wonderful men or women that do that. Because there's some men that do hair, but
Shout out to my South Carolina hairdressers. We love
that's
you.
right.
We know you. All right,
Yes.
keep going. Keep going.
So she she said, I have someone in mind that I think that you would really get along well with. And I really think that he would get along well with you. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to date him. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want any more crap. I have enough of my own stuff with my brain injury and my own stuff that I have going on. I was like, I don't want anybody else. I don't want that.
Then God said, God
And then
intervened.
he said, so, but that was in November of 2015. And then fast forward to January, like mid January 13th or 12th or something of 2016. And my best friend at the site messaged me on the Savannah Riverside has this little messenger system, like Yahoo
Right.
Messenger
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
And he popped up on my messenger, and he said, I know who your future husband is. And I was like, no, you do not, because I already told you. Don't even try to set me up. Because he tried to set me up with some guy several months before, and I was like, no, I am not interested. So I told him, I said, I'm still not interested. And he goes, no, you have to meet him. And he's a God person like you. And I was like, what's a God person, Jacob? And he's, oh, y'all go to church and all that stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. My friend was a heathen. It still is a heathen, unfortunately. I'm still praying for him. But but if you saw him, the last thing that you would think would be a matchmaker. Like, that is not. And if if you knew him, that's definitely not. But it was Yahuwah through and through. And we met at the, oh, what is that park? Not Citizens Park.
In Aiken?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. I'm
Okay.
bad.
Well,
I'm bad with names and that sort of thing. But I've
yes.
lived here my whole life, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. I'll think of it here in a minute.
It's like
But
right downtown Aiken.
not downtown. It's down Whiskey Road. It's in front of the Zaxby's there.
I'm thinking of something. Yeah, I'm thinking of something different then. But it's all good. Keep going.
Yeah. So the whatever that park is there, it has a mile track. And so he had a blue tick coonhound and I had a boxer. And so he messaged me on Facebook, and I told my friend Jacob, I said, if he wants to meet me and like be friends, have him contact me. Do not give him my phone number. Have him contact me on Facebook. So that's what he did. And he contacted me a couple days later and said, "We need to get together and walk the dogs or something." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we met, and he showed up with like casual clothes on and, not walking shoes. And I had on workout gear because I ran with my dog. I was a big into running then. And, I was there to exercise. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your dad's. Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
speed walking, and he was having a hard time keeping up. And um, we had a really good conversation, and he was hilarious. He told me that he served 5 years in the Navy. And so we had, that in common, at least, and a commonality. And he told me he was from Clinton, Iowa, which is not far from Chicago, about 3 hours south of Chicago, right there on the Mississippi River.
Right.
And And I said, well, I was born in Des Moines, Iowa when my dad was in law school. And I was like, well, coincidence there. So yeah. But we had the best conversation, and he made it 3 miles, or I'm sorry, 2 miles. I was about to hit the third mile, and he was like, I think I'm gonna go home. He wasn't intending to walk, like exercise
He was
walk.
probably doing it for you. He
He
was
did.
probably like, "Oh my god!" He probably next day was like, "Oh, I'm so sore."
Yes. But
Yeah, I'm
he
not.
met
I'm not a
it.
physical guy either. I'm more of a computer nerd, music
Well,
guy.
the Navy ruined him. I think the Navy PT'd him too much. He
Yeah.
hated it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'll pick on him now. Like, let's go do some PT. And he'll just look at me. Oh, anyway, so yeah, that's how we met, and we were pretty much inseparable after that. And
How long did it take for you to get married?
let's see, we got married in October 13th, 2017. We got married on a Friday the 13th, our
And when did you meet? 16?
January of 16. Yep.
Oh, nice, nice. So not about a year, no, almost 2 years later.
Close to, yeah. See,
Shit,
he was
I married my wife like 5 months after I met her
okay.
in 1999.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were kids.
Yes. I was
Crazy,
18. It
you
is
know.
crazy. Hard to
Yeah.
believe. I don't like looking back that far. I don't like
So,
the
so tell me what you call God again. Tell me that.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah. Now, tell me why do you call him Yahuwah? Now, I've seen that. I don't know how to pronounce. See, I'm just a dumb old country boy from Georgia, so you know. I mean, I'm not really dumb, but
No, I know.
you know what I'm saying. But
Yes,
I
I
like to I like to hear other people's interpretations and analogies and that. I mean, I'm Southern Baptist. Well, I don't go to church, but that's the way I was raised.
right.
I'm a very spiritual person, but I don't go to church. I believe that church is me and you talking about God right now. That's church.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, I to
So
that
tell me a little bit about why you say that you don't call him God no more. If
so,
you comfortable doing that.
oh, I'm an open book. I'm a talker. I have no problem talking.
Oh, no
Um,
problem.
so I started calling him Yahuwah about a year ago, and it was after much research. I've been doing nothing but research since March of 2020 when the whole COVID scamdemic stuff happened.
So you opened your book then, yeah. Mine was late 2007. Well, it was early 2007. Actually, it was about 2016, but
That's
um,
good.
yeah, it's kind of a wild story. I found 4chan from a doctor friend of mine,
Oh,
actually.
wow.
Yeah, so and he told me all about anons and the crazy things they post and that sort of thing. And then I just happened to be on there and started finding these crazy drops that were labeled Q, and it's been
Hmm.
it's been crazy ever since. But we're not going to talk about that. Let's get back to tell me why you so you were why you call him. Yeah,
So
we can
in
have
my
another conversation about that.
that's right. Uh, in my research, I was learning about the Bible because everything with our nation is biblical. It was biblically based. Everything
Right,
was.
right, right.
And so I was like, what? Why are they talking about this? So I've known that God is not his name, but growing up in churches, I'm sure you can attest to this. They just called him God, and we didn't learn really anything. It was the same stories, same sermons, pretty much over and over again, and there wasn't. I didn't
It
have
was more of
much.
an agenda.
Yes, like a
with
thing that
with with a few scriptures thrown in to
yes,
satisfy the agenda that they were trying
yes,
to push. Yes, I get that.
yes.
100%. Go
So
ahead.
I was baptized when I was 10 years old. I accepted Jesus as my savior, and after that, life happens, you become an adult, you live some life, and I had made some really bad choices, and having a narcissist for a father, you are you're pretty much beaten to nothing when you do something wrong, or you do something that is a poor reflection, or that he perceived as a poor reflection on himself.
Well, they're
He would
never wrong.
Right. He would
Yes,
come
absolutely.
like, I don't am I allowed to say a not great word?
Absolutely. Say what you
So
want.
he would come down like a shit brick house when he was not happy about something, or if we did something wrong. The slightest little thing, we would get screamed at by him. I mean, he was under so much stress, and he had child wounds and things that he didn't deal with from his childhood and stuff, and so it just carried on. And
Yeah, I was going to
um
say a lot of that's programming.
oh gosh, yeah.
A
So
lot, a lot of our parents. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, because
Absolutely. I get it.
right, they didn't know any better. Their mom and dads didn't teach them anything. Not that it's an excuse, but it is what it is.
It
It
falls
made
under
me
that
who I
category, that verse where forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Yes,
exactly.
absolutely. There's going to be a lot of that. But
Yes. Yo, yes, very much.
you ever felt like COVID was designed to kill off a certain generation of people because of that?
It, yes, I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I
And
do.
I
To
hate
get
I hate to say that, but I just wanted to throw that out there, and I hope that don't piss my listeners off. But I don't care. I think that's absolutely 100% correct. I mean, why'd
if
they
they do
start moving people into nursing homes?
exactly. Because they steal their SESQ trust accounts. I mean,
Oh, there you
it
go.
when you follow the white rabbit, you learn all kinds of things. I tell you.
You say too much truth.
I know.
I'm just
I,
saying. Okay, get back to tell me why. I keep throwing us off the path, but
you're
I do want to hear the story about the why you call him that versus God, and then I think we're gonna have to have another podcast about that other
right.
stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is
But
great.
I found in my studies that his Hebrew name, he has many names,
Right.
many in Hebrew.
And
And
us dumb country people don't know half that shit. So
right.
that's why I'm
Because
interested.
right, because they don't educate us on any of it.
Exactly.
And during the 2020 21, I think it was 2021 time frame, when they started doing the shots and all of that garbage, I joined a group of local
When they started the booster clubs.
folks. Well, yeah, we were Aiken Citizens for Freedom was our name, and we organized a whole bunch of people. We organized these huge meetings out at the Big Red Barn out there in Aiken County, and people from the site to try to let them know what was going on, and just band together so that we had numbers and information, and here's the factual information. This is what they're saying, but that's not factual, or it's not correct, or we just were talking, trying to band together, because nobody wanted to be forced to take that shot, to have to
Go to
keep
work.
their,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. It was
Right.
wrong. It was
Yeah.
huge government overreach.
Yeah.
And so, me being the little child that wasn't allowed to speak up, or couldn't defend myself, and I was like, okay, this is not right. And if anything is not right, I am not afraid to get my hands dirty and get stuff done. Like my dad, to his credit, he did a good job raising us to be good good-hearted folks, and to do things that you don't want to do. And
Right.
he
Oh
he
yeah,
taught,
definitely. Absolutely.
he taught. But So I was ready to get active and get loud because I'm a loud individual. I always have been. I don't know. And so I was like, you're not going to bully me. Nobody's going to bully me and tell me what I have to do and that kind of thing. So I was fortunate. 2019, in December of 2019, I left my job at Tritium. I was a industrial hygienist was my job title at the time. I had never done that before. I was learning as I go. OJT. That's how they
Right.
like to do there.
Me too. I'm the same way. I don't. I'm not a school person.
So
I'm a trenches guy.
there you go. And so I was trying to learn that new job, and I wasn't being given what I needed to be successful, and it was turning into an issue apparently that I was asking for help and asking for guidance and all this other stuff. And so I had a partial hysterectomy surgery in October of 2019. And right before I went in for this surgery, I went to Herbal Solutions there in Aiken. And that's where I would get a bunch of medicine. I was holistic for a long time, like medicine wise. I
Right.
learned accident that I had, the medicine all just would mess me up big time. And I thought
Right.
I did else. And so that's when I started looking at natural alternatives is around that time.
I'm the
And
same exact way. That's why I asked you about the light workers and that the
oh
other
yeah,
day. I'm the same exact way. I cannot take like anything. It
no.
just trashes me. I don't know.
Yes.
But
Oh,
go ahead.
I had a I had a scar revision surgery. I found out after that accident, I don't keloid scar. It's I think the doctor called it hypertrophic scarring. So
Right.
are you familiar with keloids?
No, not really.
It's primarily affects the Black community because of their genetics and things, but it's where your body overproduces collagen and it doesn't know when to stop. Like there's not a cutoff for
Ah,
telling that's enough. So it just produces a lot of collagen. And so if you've ever noticed, some Black folks have like really big scarring on them in like different
oh
places.
yeah, like in the back of their head and stuff like that.
Yeah, like if they cut
Yeah,
themselves
yeah, yeah,
later.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I scar like that, except mine stays within the perimeter of the incision line or the damage or whatever.
I
So,
got you. I got you.
but they can grow internally and they just can go wild. And so, I forgot why I was telling you that story.
No, we were talking about the why you call God.
Oh yeah, Yahuwah. So,
It's all good. I do the same thing. I like have to circle back a lot.
well, I've got traumatic brain injury, so I have short term memory loss, and so
Oh,
I can get off track and then I'll forget. I'll eventually come back around to it sometimes, but
no,
it
it's
can.
great. It's been a great podcast. That, like I said, there's a reason we met today on Facebook.
I
It really is.
agree. I agree.
Really is. And we're coming up on like close to an hour. So let me do this and then let me do the little jingle here.
Sure.
This show tonight is sponsored by S4 Construction Services, and they're out of Lincoln, Georgia. They specialize in roof repairs, roof replacements, metal roofing, vinyl and hard siding, patio covers, pole barns, wooden chain link fences, etc., etc., etc. Their motto is "We'll even clean your house and wash your dishes." That's S4 Construction Services, and they're from Lincoln in Georgia. All right, back to Lindsay and uh why you call God Yahuwah. I like that.
So, in my research, I was learning about the Bible and learning about
All the
what
names.
statements and
Yeah.
all of that were, what do you call it? Like what parts of the Bible were used for the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and all of that. Like I wanted to understand that better.
Right.
And um, in my research, I just started seeing in like the older books and the older Bibles and things, it was Yahuwah or
Yes.
all of his other different names. And
Always said Joshua, or I don't know how to really pronounce. I'm from Georgia.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
right. And then I saw Elohim, and I looked up Elohim, and Elohim is plural, like God's plural. And I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, that could be paganistic because that's really, you know, a lot of our a lot of our um what about holidays? Yes, we worship pagans,
Right.
different gods.
Yes. And during the Aiken Citizens for Freedom movement that I was a part of, I met one of my best friends, Wanda Barr, and she's my mom and dad's age, a little bit younger, and but she is the strongest woman of faith I've ever known in my life, and there is nothing that I would not do for this woman, and same her with me. And we are still very, very close, very good friends, and we talk to each other every day, either through sending each other different news articles or whatever's, and or texting and just saying, hey, hope you're having a good day, kind of thing. But
Right,
he, she went to Jerusalem. She and her youngest son went together. I think they were there about a year, maybe 9 months, something like that, several years ago. And it just changed her life. And she learned about Messianic Jews that believe in Yeshua and
right,
are, and he's God, Yahuwah's son, and all this other stuff. And so but his name in Hebrew was Yeshua because they didn't have the letter J in those times. The letter J is only like a few thousand years old or something. It's
right,
not
right.
it's not very it wasn't his name.
Gotcha.
So then I started learning about the name of God, and we call him God. And I came across this article. I don't remember, it was more than 6 months ago, but it was this article, just random article, and I clicked on it, and it was talking about Satan, Lucifer,
Right.
his name. It was not Lucifer. It was it was Godriel, God for short. And
Huh.
so the article was saying when we call in the name of God, we're calling on Lucifer, who is the light bearer.
Yeah. Ooh, now we're getting.
And
Yeah. Okay.
and the light bearer, and then it was showing different things in the Bible, and how the story of Yeshua coming and dying on the cross and sacrificing and then rising again. And every religion has a Yeshua, allegedly, except they did not come back to life. And that's what we learned growing up in church and all of that stuff, and that's why Christianity is the superior religion or whatever. But I really had to do a lot of praying and a lot of soul searching within myself, and because that was a punch to the gut. That's not something that I was prepared to read, and of course I immediately like rejected it in my mind, like, no, that can't be true.
Right.
And after a couple of days, I was like, let me look at this. And so I started to dig on the Godriel thing, and sure enough, I found supporting stuff. And my friend Wanda that I told you about, she calls him Yahuwah and Yeshua because she studies the Judaism, the Torah. And So she was a huge influence, I guess, if you will, on me kind of getting into a little bit of curiosity about all of that, because that is something that has always, I don't know, I guess something that I've always pondered on, I guess, is how can there be so many different religions when there
Oh
is
no,
just
no,
one?
no. I feel I'm the same way, even though I mean I just know that whoever it is takes care of me because I try to do right by other people and he takes care of me. And
Yeah.
I don't know like if I'm doing a disservice by calling him God because I don't know that. But I mean, you're teaching me
Right.
things I don't know. So I'm gonna look into this, and this is a great podcast. It really is.
So, well, it's just everybody's on their own path. That's something I've had to learn to really give a lot of grace, because I've been given a lot of grace. And
Well, it's funny
don't
because you say that. My youngest daughter, she posted last night. Let me show you what she posted. And I thought this was amazing for a 22-year-old. Um, hold on just a second. Let me pull this up. I even shared it. That's why I thought it was amazing. Um, but she's a lot like me. Hold on, me. I wish I had me one of them guys like Joe Rogan. Hey, dude, pull this up.
oh
Boom.
yeah,
It's right there. So this my youngest daughter. Her name is Tori. She said, biggest lesson I've learned this past year is that people pleasing, insecurity is way more selfish than confidence, and self-love, in my opinion, at least. People pleasing is so harmful. You really only have yourself and God at the end of the day.
that's
That's
true.
that's a 22-year-old.
That's very insightful.
Yeah, I taught her pretty good.
I would say so. That's great.
But yeah, we're gonna talk more about this, but we're going on like a little bit over an hour and 2 minutes. So I might even cut this into two. We might have to do like a 5-part mini series or something because
Yeah.
you,
I
this has been really, really good. And I appreciate, man, it's awesome to meet you and talk to you
likewise.
and people with like minds. I mean, that's what this is about. And people,
Yes.
people too busy fighting and screaming at each other, and people don't understand. That's not what life's about. And
It,
I want to thank you for this, and I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you got anything else to say before we end this up, I'm gonna let you do it now. And we're gonna get back together and do another episode for sure.
awesome. I would really like that. I really appreciate you having me. Thanks for listening and giving me a voice to have and to be able to share my testimony, because I haven't even finished yet. I have a lot more to tell you, but it's apparent to me that this is exactly where I am supposed to be right now. And even the things that are currently happening right now that are really chaotic and that I was not expecting that happened last week, it's all part of his plan. It's all part of his perfect plan, and I am not going to worry. So, I mean, if he got me out of death,
Right,
he,
right. I mean, you know.
he will. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Well,
really enjoyed
well,
it. Thank you.
not a problem. Well, God bless you, Lindsay. And I, I said that again. Here we go.
Yeah,
I,
you
s- I,
just
s- I say
you
Yahuwah
the
bless you. Yahuwah. I don't
right.
want to give you no bad vibes.
That's right. You research it and look into it and do your own praying about it and thinking about it, because I had to, and that's just the conclusion. Everybody's different. Everyone's on their own path. So,
Right, right. That's amazing. And I appreciate you. Love you. God bless. And we will talk to you soon.
all right.
All right, guys.
Everybody wants the truth. God to light. God to light. God to light. God to light. Trust the plan. Trust the plan.
It's gonna be alright.
but this is just the beginning. And no, God.